untapped irrigated field. Basically what that means is we use pipe to irrigate it down rows that we make ridges for in season. And what we do on this is what we call ridge till. And what that is we leave the remaining ridge from last year, basically kind of tear out that old corn stalk, and then we'll plant right back where the last year's corn stalk was. I don't know how well you can see there, but this is what we call row stocking in our area. It's basically kind of ripping out the old root ball on top of that old ridge. And then what we'll do after this, after we run this machine over it, is we'll take our strip till machine, kind of shove that remaining residue off the top of the row, and that'll create a pretty nice seed bed. We really like it anyway, for that corn to get started off in. Works pretty good for these fields. Earlier today, one of those big discs, you probably can't see it now, in the back, had a bearing go out, so I usually have those in stock at our shop, but I had to run to town to get one for some reason. Either we misplaced one or just didn't have it. That we have that's, I don't know, roughly 30 miles, 40 miles away from our shop. Thought I'd give you a little backstory on what I kind of started out spraying with. Started out on a 3-point sprayer. It was a homemade job. It kind of had, I don't know if it was an old cultivator frame that the tank set on, and then the booms were basically made out of old, like, either 694 or 490, not 494, but maybe like a 694 John Deere planter markers that folded out, and the tips were put in there by, well, they're welded on by little washers and stuff, but I think it was about 30 foot wide or something like that anyway. But no, I had that, and it was mounted to, or we put it on our 4520, and so that's kind of what I started out spraying with. Now remember, the section control was one of those silver levers that I think they still use them kind of on the basic sprayers, but you could kind of choose center, left, or right booms, or all together. But it kind of, every once in a while I'll think back to that when I kind of get cranky at this sprayer or other sprayers. This one hasn't given us any troubles, but say if something breaks down, you get cranky, and then you remember, you know, it is still a little bit better than maybe what that was. But you know, when you kind of learn to start on something basic like that, though, you kind of learn the fundamentals of what spraying is, and you know how to kind of calculate your rates and whatnot. Because yeah, like that didn't have a rate controller, so you set your tip and pressure, and then you kind of stuck to a speed. So that's how I did that. And I remember the next sprayer we made was another home job that Dad made, and it was an old liquid fertilizer applicator that kind of had a cone base to it, and it was one of those that you mounted the applicator on the back, so it had a 3-point hitch. So what we did is, or what Dad did, I guess I should say, is he mounted a 3-point sprayer that we found at an auction on the back of that, and that was a little bit nicer. We actually was able to haul 800 gallon worth of solution. I think it was about 36 foot wide. I think because we were wide row back in the day, and so I think it was set up for 36-inch rows. But once you get done with the front tank, you would shut that off, or excuse me, once you'd get done with the 3-point tank sprayer, you'd shut the valve and open up the front sprayer tank and run that off. So that's kind of how we did that. And that one was still, it never had a rate controller on it, but the first sprayer that we had that had a rate controller was a Best Way pull type sprayer. And that one had one of those Raven, I think they still make them today, Raven rate controllers on it, but that got a little, that was an actual Botten sprayer that we had. I think it had 80-foot booms, and it was a 1,200 gallon tank. It was a nice sprayer. The only thing hard about pull type sprayers is in our hills, is if you're going down the road, it like to dog track a lot. So you would run over quite a bit of corn when you get on steep hills, and also turn them around and whatnot. So I got the last of the no-till bean fields that we were gonna put pre on to start with. That was clear up north at a field about 30 miles away. I got back kind of to our main area now, and I started putting on fertilizer with the sprayer. What we're doing is we're putting on 30 gallon of just straight 32% nitrogen. And also, while we'll do that, is put on a little bit of pre-emergence with the corn, just to kind of help get a good base started, and you know, so we don't have to come right back in and spray a pre again. Sorry, I'm kind of turning around with the camera at the same time. The only bad thing about today is it's a little windier. What happens when you get a little bit of wind with nitrogen, you turn around at the end, you'll kind of get a breeze, and it'll kind of just stick right to your windows. It kind of makes a mess of your sprayer. That's the biggest setback of putting fertilizer on with a sprayer. If you ever get a breeze, it just kind of makes it stick right to the glass. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I turned one time and got a nice gust, and it just stuck right to the glass. Luckily, I can still see. What I'll do tonight is take it home, rinse it down, start all over again. Hopefully tomorrow it isn't as windy. Everybody, happy Good Friday. Have a good Easter. If you kind of like what's going on here, just hit subscribe below. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.